Here we go, guys. We're going to be going into a map number 5. It is 2-2. Very happy to see Sortof bringing it back, winning both an all-in and then defending an all-in very well. Funnily enough, it's just been the pressure into macro games against Uthermal's mech, which has let him down. So let's see how we go this time. Spawning down here in the bottom left-hand side in the blue, representing Team Liquid, it is Uthermal. And up here in the top right, starting to mount a little bit of a comeback in the red, it is Sortof. This is Acolyte, guys. It is game number 5 in the series. It's tied up 2-2. The first player to get 4 wins will be taking home the $70 first prize. $30 to the loser. And this is Acolyte. It's the biggest map in the pool. It's gigantic. You get a base for free. So you get this base inside your base, and then you get a front base right next to your main as well. So it's basically 3 bases for free. Lol, let's go to late game, basically at the very beginning. Sortof, of course, going to take the front, more exposed base first, because even the more exposed base is still bloody safe, and this way he can start his creep spread towards the center of the map a lot earlier. Meanwhile, Uthermal simply going to wall the front with a rather standard gas first opening. And I would not be surprised if we see maybe something like a Hellion drop on this map. Potentially, I kind of feel like the old 6 Marine and a Widow Mine medevac poke is actually really good on this map, just because so many Zergs do tend to play very fast third hatch, heavy queen, gasless styles. But Sortof here, captain of safe and standard, as always, is actually just going hatch gas pool. And even though he's not prioritizing gas over minerals at all, he is still going to have his ling speed up just after 3 minutes 30. He's going to have a good little bit of mobility on the defense. And you can also see the one all-in, which Terran started doing on this map after Innovation did it versus Dark in the GSL semifinals, was that one build where you build a barracks, factory, starport, and you do basically a build which is normally used in Terran versus Protoss, where you just run over, start building bunkers, siege tanks, liberators, and you just leapfrog into their main base. Innovation, of course, did end up losing that game in one of the craziest base trades ever, where Dark ended up nidusing into Innovation's base, and they ended up swapping main bases, and Dark barely ended up winning that game, but it was so bloody close. So as a result, Zergs have all changed their Overlord pattern, so their second Overlord always goes to check for that now. Something I very sadly discovered on ladder after trying that build, and it got scouted every single time. Reaper going to come in. Nice little grenade there. Going to bounce these Zerglings around. Going to look for a kill or two. 1 Zergling kill. Not a bad start to things, but nice micro there from Sortof. Rotating the weak Zerglings to the back. Isn't going to take any more losses than that. And back at home, factory going down in that reactor is going to be double Hellion production starting up. And we are going to be seeing a starport going into Banshees most likely, as there's a tech lab on that barracks. Forcing an extractor trick here. The Reaper just being a real pain in the dick. He's just running around being a pain in the ass, man. Yeah, Reaper's just being annoying. Expansion is down now for Uthermal. Just gonna hide down here for now. Where are those Zerglings? They're just waiting for that Reaper to try and escape. Uthermal patiently taking some drugs down here in the corner, just kind of injecting some of these combat drugs to heal him up instantly. Back up to 60 hit points, and is gonna run back in at the same time as these Hellions come across to poke the front and try to slow down that creep spread. And oh, I'm actually really happy with the build we're seeing out of Uthermal. I mentioned it before on this map. Zergs can get quite greedy, and oh my god, he's actually going to find 4 drone kills already. Wow. Wow. Wow, someone fucking buzz Owen Wilson, because 2 Hellions are not meant to kill 4 or 5 drones that early in the game. Those Hellions going to back off. We've already got a double Widow Mine drop following this up. There's a really cute opening, and we're going to see the starport swap over, and we're going to see cloaked Banshees to follow this up. Come on, Uthermal. Do me proud. Swap it over. Get Cloak started. That's the follow-up. You know it is. Come on, buddy. Make me proud. Oh, he's going to be a lib. He's going to make a liberate. No, a Viking. Okay. I'm wrong. Never mind me. Double Widow Mine drop is going to come in. Sortof has no idea, guys. He's trying to make queens, but I feel like this is going to be just like those first 2 games where he just takes a little bit too much damage too early. Did Sortof see that? I don't think he saw that. He didn't react. Uthermal's coming into that main base. His boost is on cooldown. So, he does actually give Sortof quite a bit of time to react. Oh, is he going to get... Oh, he's in range! Oh, great split at the last second. That single drone pulls off. Only 2 workers end up falling, and the Spore Crawler's already started. The Medevac taking tons of damage. It's gonna lose a lot. Did he get any drones with the Hellions? No, he did not. The Zerglings at the front deflect the Hellions. The Medevac falls. The Widowmine's trying to get out of range of that Spore Crawler. Ooh, yeah, they want to get a second shot off, and I think they might be able to. Look at this. Great micro from Uthermal. He just keeps running from the Spore Crawler. That one gets burrowed up there. That one down there does finally fall. That Widowmine gets another shot off, bruising a queen, just being a pain in the ass. And look at this, sort of supply blocked right now. He's got a bit of lava just sitting there idle. So the distractions here from Uthermal, even though he didn't find big direct damage, he is being annoying and slowing sort of down. Behind this, we've got 2nd and 3rd factory on the way, double armory on the way, 3rd base is about to land. And we do have a Viking that's already cleaned up one Overlord and is looking around those edges for any more it can find. Ooh, nice Zergling flank here, but yeah, Uthermal with good micro, but these 2 Zerglings can chase that down now. Sort of just going to A-move that. Uthermal not even going to bother microing it, knowing it's not really worth his time. 5 Hellbats at the front. They should be able to deflect this. Uthermal going to defend for now, but this Viking being a big pain, man. He's just going to like shoot down a few Overlords, and yeah, double upgrades haven't even started for Sort of this time. I got to say, like, in the first 2 maps, he was a bit further behind than this. Like, just the long rush distance, even though Uthermal's been really good with how he does everything, I feel like Sort of's just in a much better position. You know, he's got a 6-minute 4th down, even though there's 2 Thors and 2 Medevacs on the way. Last time around, the Thors cancelled the 4th and basically just won the game on Abyssal Reef. This time around, I think by the time these Thors finish, get in this pair of Medevacs and get across the map, I imagine Sort of's already going to have a nice little pack of Hydralisks out. He's already got his Infestation on the way. He should be starting that Hydra upgrade. His Zerglings have cleared up the map. Look at Uthermal's map vision right now. He's got just the Viking, 1 Hellbat on the left, 1 Hellbat on the Watchtower. Nowhere near the sort of control that he had previously. Unfortunately, Sort of has forgotten his Hydra upgrade. So even though he's building 9 Hydras, he didn't have the gas to start the upgrade. And that's going to be very important. Without the upgrade, you're almost never going to manage to catch any sort of Thor harassment. And the Thors are going to be able to wail on those Hydras from quite far away. Just going to have to see where this one goes. I do think it's just going to stabilize in a much more even position this time around. Hydra upgrade has started. Roach speed starting as well. Sort of course, got a lot of his Hydras roasted by Hellions in previous games. Realizing adding some Roaches in there might be useful. Oh, finds the gap between the Spore Crawlers. Of course, the Thors automatically start shooting the Overlords because they're the stupidest unit in the game, rather than picking off drones. Hydras are going to come in, try and fight this. Good micro from Sort of. Needs to start focusing this down. Yeah, okay, the Medevacs can't pick that up. Oh, Sort of. He's trying to focus fire them down. Oh my fucking god. Uthermal, you god. At the same time, Hellions run into that 3rd base, morph into Hellbats. Oh man, Uthermal. Oh my god. Can we just give Uthermal a nickname? Guys, can we just call him Big Dick Thermal from now on? Because what the hell are we watching? The hell? He's just too good. Oh my god. He just kept ferrying those Thors, purposefully getting the Hydralisks to focus fire the Medevacs. And then he just immediately dropped them. He never really intended to try to evacuate the Thors. He knew that he could win that fight. Gets both Thors out of there. Look at the units lost tab. 4,000 resources for Zerg. 1,400 only lost for Terran. And suddenly he's up 20 supply. I was saying the Hydras were going to smash at that time. I guess the upgrade was pretty important. The upgrade was bloody friggin' important. And not having any extra queens there, of course, you know, not seeing the push coming was a pain. If Sort of had been positioned a little bit better, that might have been completely different, but as it is, Sort of's not down and out yet. He's got 2 Vipers on the way. He does have 1-1 upgrades. Unfortunately, 2-2's already well on the way for Uthermal. Hasn't even started for Sort of. I mean, Sort of's still got a lot of space to work with. It's hard for Uthermal to push. But Sort of, he needs to push this creep out, and he needs to push this game late. He needs to buy many minutes, not just 1 or 2 minutes. He needs to buy about 5 more minutes to equalize here. This random Viking from earlier in the game still being a friggin' asshole, man. Uthermal here just finding the nice angles. And, you know, it's really cool to see Uthermal in the last months evolving into such a strong mech player. A guy who I think was synonymous with just 2-1-1, bio play, non-stop marine bio drops, showing that he's got what it takes to become a very well-rounded mech player. And this just makes him so much scarier. You know, if the Hydras ever do kind of go out of fashion, bio comes back in, maybe there's more smaller maps in the pool, more aggressive bio-focused maps, I think Uthermal is going to be so dangerous as a player who's got much thicker bag of tricks. Many more surprising things he can pull out. We've got a few Ravagers morphing. Okay, Ravagers can be nice, very micro-intensive. You can use those to pick off siege tanks at the front, but look at this. Hellions on the left flank. There's only one spine in position. There's nothing over there. These Hellions, and meanwhile, the push on the right-hand side coming forward. Sortof's whole army out of position. Hellions are going to dive into that third. They've already roasted a few drones. They're going to morph into Hellbats, and they're going to focus on the hatch, I think. Meanwhile, hatch cancelled on the right-hand side. Push working its way in there. And okay, the army's going to come back and clean this up. Wasn't absolutely devastating drone losses. It was a good response from Sortov, but he's losing creep on the right-hand side of the map. We've got Vikings coming to join with this army. Only 7 Vikings out on the map right now. Actually, a lot of them sitting at home, just idling. And he's going to need those because these 4 Vipers, if they land the proper blinding clouds, they will smash it. Unfortunately for Sortov, he actually doesn't have that much energy right now. 2 full energy Vipers. The other 2 Vipers only having single abducts. Does grab 2 Vikings. Another Viking gets pulled. Another Viking gets pulled. Oh, taking out all of the anti-air. Now the Vipers have free reign. Going to just grab a few siege tanks for free. Pick those off nice and easily. Gonna go suck more energy, rinse and repeat. Meanwhile, though, Liquid Thermal not taking his foot off the pedal. Hellbat's gonna hit the top left-hand side base. That's gonna be a cancel. Doesn't even get the cancel. The base falls. Where are those upgrades? +2 range is finally finishing up here for Sortov. +2 carapace only just starting. Spire and Ultra Cavern are on the way. Meanwhile, though, 3 3s on the way for Uthermal. He is up to 5 factories. He's got the starport with the reactor. He's got 3 more factories going down, going up to 8 factories. His 5th base is down. His income is looking bloody great right now. Tying it up with the Zerg. And even going to go for another double Thor drop in the back. Takes out a few drones. He's going to start to focus on this hatchery. Oh, man. Sortof's going to lose a base. Great Thor drop here. I think this is the first 2 Thors from earlier. They've got 13 and 18, 19, 20 kills apiece. Hydras are going to come in. Uthermal, you got to evacuate that. I think they're going to go down. Vipers abducting tanks on the front at the same time. Hellions are going to come forward and actually chase off these Hydras and Ravagers. And the Thors actually won the fight. Oh, my God. 26 kills and 20 kills apiece. Hydras running on top of the Hydras and just... Hellions running on top of the Hydras and roasting them. Ah, man. Uthermal is just... Look at the units lost tab. 3,500 resources more efficient. This is the point where Sortov's meant to turn the efficiency around, especially as he's losing bases. He's down on bases, but Uthermal keeps on winning the efficiency war. The tanks are moving forward. The creep is getting pushed back. Sortov's back is up against the wall right now. He's desperate. He's taking tank fire. This tank at the front landing down the hurt. And Uthermal's not giving him the time to prepare. He's forced to engage. Blinding clouds fall, but a full energy Viper going down before it could even use its spells. Another Vipers do come in. Nice Hydra flank from the backside, though. Sortov with a fantastic flank. Takes the trade he needs to. Shuts down Uthermal's army. And Uthermal pushing on to creep there. It was a dangerous maneuver. Thought he could get Sortov to take a sloppy engagement. Sortov did bleed out a few units beforehand, but that flank with the Hydras coming up from behind really increased his efficiency. Landed a lot of good blinding clouds. And now Uthermal's army is reset. Uthermal actually with very few units out. It's going to take him a long time to rebuild that. Meanwhile, we've still got 33 Hydralisks on the map. The one problem for Sortov is he doesn't have those expensive Vipers anymore. Every single one of those went down. And he's going to have to very slowly rebuild those. As well as try to catch up in these upgrades. Because even though Uthermal is not really going to be able to fight for a long time. Oh my god, every little bit of drones he kills. Anything that prolongs the game is actually good because Uthermal has more economy right now. He has more bases. He's got better upgrades. Hydra's trying to fight this planetary, but there's not enough of them. He's going to try and focus down the SCVs is sort of, but I don't know if he can afford to trade off Hydras just for a few SCVs at this point. Uthermal's count is just so efficient. The planetary fortress just blasting Hydras left, right, and center. This Hydra's going to get boomed. Hellions coming from the back, roast him up. Sortov with a desperate attack there. A terrible choice. And I think just the pressure's getting to him. Uthermal just constantly hitting this top left base, constantly killing drones, brings the worker kill count up to 50 workers, and Sortov, in the midst of all of the high-paced battle, makes a terrible decision, throws away a ton of Hydras, And now he's deep in the shit. Only 2 Vipers and 29 Hydras out. He's rebuilding his work account, but he's lost too much map control. Hellions continue to roam in from both sides. Only 3 Hydras on the left. These Hellions are going to kill them. These Hellions on the right come in. They get a great splash damage. He pulls back with the Hellions and dives in on this side. Finds the worker line once more. A couple Hydras going to go in, but the Hellions could even roast those if they want to. And Uthermal's multi-prong Hellion harassment. A little bit too good for Sortof today. Looks like Uthermal is going to be taking a 3-2 lead in the near future. I don't know how Sortof can possibly stabilize. Behind this, the tank army is growing. The Viking army is growing. Even ship weapons are on the way now. Uthermal playing some incredible mech. And Sortof just desperate on the back foot. Not quite able to keep up. This is just such good play. What's been missing, guys? Definitely we haven't seen Swarmhost play from Sortof. He's still playing this very Viper-centric style. And we've never really seen him get to Broodlords. Now, Broodlords are incredible, but I really feel like Sortof just hasn't had the money to make that transition. I don't think it's a strategic error from him. He's been down at 60 workers a lot of the time. When he was up at 78 workers, right when he was starting to bank money and get to the point where I was like, hey, maybe you can do that, Uthermal roasted most of his army, all of his Vipers, and he had to replace it. Spent all of his bank while having his economy bruised. So he's never really had the chance to go to Broodlords. It seems like Swarm Hosts and skipping out on those is more of just a choice out of sort of style. And that definitely does lose him efficiency over time, not having those free units to pick away with. But, I mean, he's been fighting hard. I just think the problem at this point is it's just scale. Too many units for Uthermal. Too many times there have been Hydras blocking these counterattacks. These need to be Roaches. I feel like you need Roaches on your counterattack defense. If you got 5 Roaches there, they're going to do okay even against 10 Hellions. But 5 Hydras will just get obliterated by 10 Hellions, and they're much more expensive to lose. I think that's been one of the big problems this entire series. Sort of just not able to deal with the Hellion counters. And even when he looks like he's about to mount a comeback, his army ends up with pretty much just pure Hydra Viper, which Hellions simply jump on top of. And the Hellions are pretty much free for Uthermal. He's always got a mineral bank. He's playing mech. His important units only cost gas for the most part. The big problem for Sortof is that every time these Hellions roast drones, roast Hydras, they're trading off efficiently. That's where you need to block the mech player. We saw Sortof win that one big frontal engagement when he flanked around it. He can take those fights very well, but Uthermal keeps picking away at his economy, and his Hellion harass keeps trading too well. Until Sortof can get a handle on that, I don't think he's going to be able to turn this series around. Ooh, grabs a few Thors to the front. That's nice, but look at this. There's just, even the Hellbats, like, actually get forward and kind of roast a few Hydras there. So even though that was nice for Sortof, he's always at that point where it's very scary. Ooh, nice. Couple of Roaches down here on hold position. Just out of range of the planetary, picking off a few units. Siege Tank will clean that up. But here we go. Uthermal once again going to force his way in. This time there is no flank of Hydralisks from Sortof. The Blinding Clouds are a little bit late, and most of his units are dead before the Blinding Clouds even hit the tanks. The Hellions run forward, get on top of those Hydras. A few more units spilling in from the left. A little bit of a staggered engagement from Sortof when he needed a beyond perfect engagement. And GGG. Well played. Uthermal is taking a 3-2 lead. He's only 1 game away from finishing off the series, and we see why Uthermal picked that map. Sick Widowmine drop opening. The Reaper was so annoying. The double Hellion getting 4 drone kills early on. I cannot state how important those little edges are. 4 drones getting killed when you're only at 30 workers sets the pace for the next few minutes of the game. If Sortof can stop those early little bits of damage, the Reaper picking off a few Zerglings and a drone, the Hellions killing a few dudes, then he's going to be able to hang on, but he hasn't been able to do that. He's taken way too much damage, and then it just spirals from there. Every time Uthermal can slow him down and then get to the mid-game on an even or slightly ahead footing. Yeah, sort of struggling. I'd love to see you know, he added Roaches in that game. I think having a few Roaches for drop defense or counterattack defense is going to be pretty good. You can use Ling Speedbane. It's just, you need to make sure you micro it correctly and have good micro. So We're getting close to the end of the series, guys. This one has really outlived my expectations. I am bloody happy with how well this series has gone so far. Getting to see some sick mech play, just non-stop Hellion harassment. And as I always talk about with both fighting against mech and using mech, it's all about the harassment. Good luck, have fun. It's all about, as the Zerg, stopping the damage and getting up to a solid 3-base economy. You know, not rushing upgrades or tech units, but just defending and getting full 3 bases and then exploding into that crazy economy and tech. But Uthermal's job has been, you know what, keep the damage up, keep slowing down your creep, killing workers. If I can keep you on the back foot, I can make it happen. That's exactly what we've seen. One game away from winning it all, guys. Here we go. We are going into game number 6. One game away from winning the 100